My answer is no, it will not.
Peas and carrots have received a presidential pardon. Have a very, very happy Thanksgiving. God bless you all, and God bless America.
Hold on tight to your dream.
Live from New York City, it is the 21st day of November. It's the day before Thanksgiving, and you can tell it's a special Fox and Friends because our company logo right there is in Thanksgiving colors.
That's exactly right. It's so fun to be in New York at Thanksgiving. Lots of tourists out here on the streets because they're here for the parade. Going to be cold here in New York tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, real cold. And then it kicks off, obviously, the whole Christmas season. An awesome time of the year to be in the Big Apple. It's awesome.
It is.
And Todd is in today. Brian is starting his holiday.
He's cooking already. Kilmeade's there at the oven right now.
He's making his mama's meatballs.
That's
got
right.
the recipe out of your cookbook.
That's right.
Which is a great Christmas gift.
Thank you. Oh, I forgot about that.
Got to start shopping now.
Good thinking.
Black Friday around the corner.
Indeed. All right. Meanwhile, we got a busy final hour today, and we start with the battle at the border. A new wave of migrants arriving in Tijuana, Mexico, before pushing their way into the United States and either apply for asylum or try to do something else.
The president vowing an immediate response to what he considers a, quote, disgraceful ruling on his asylum order.
And Casey Stiegel is live down in Dallas with details for us. Hey, Casey.
Hey guys, good morning to you. Yeah, as you know, there are so many different moving parts to this story, from what you have physically happening down on the border itself, out in the field, and then what you have going through the judicial process in the courtroom. But no doubt.
Happy Thanksgiving to you too, Casey.
All right. Something else that Kristen Nielsen, the Department of Homeland Security Secretary, said yesterday is in the media, there's this narrative that the caravan is largely women and children, and they're just trying to seek asylum because their nation they're leaving is very violent and they're very poor. But then she said, just because you're poor or just because you're looking for a job or you would like to be reunited with your family, that is not grounds for asylum the way the laws are currently written.
She said you have to get in line, essentially, like other people have done for years before you. She said that at least 500 of the migrants are criminals, including gang members. And she said she promises to continue to work there on the border until it is all resolved. You have the Department of Defense. They sent those soldiers there. The soldiers they're 5,800 active duty reserves, National Guard forces, including 1,100 from Camp Pendleton, which is for the Marines, a base for the Marines. And the Custom Border Protection and our military troops are down there. They're reinforcing the border using that concertina wire. They're using Jersey barriers and other barricades. And when you look at the video from a few days ago, you had people sitting on top of the wall. You had people jumping over the wall, running onto the beach here on the U.S. side in San Diego and enticing the Border Patrol agents. But now look at the walls. This is a fence.
There's no sitting on that.
Can't sit on it anymore. Yes.
And the two of you raise a really good point in terms of the previous immigrants. We're all descendants of immigrants in some way, shape, or form. By and large, every single one of those individuals who came over here was leaving something that wasn't very good for a better life. There are people from these very countries that spawned the caravan that are probably in line right now. Right. Why should these caravan individuals jump them in line? And, oh, by the way, you have these individuals waving their flags of their home country. Something just doesn't seem right about this, and that's what the president's speaking out against.
Well, Sebastian Gorka was with the administration when the travel ban came out, and ultimately, just like what's going on with the asylum claim, is there was a judge and a series of judges who said that's against the law. Ultimately, the president did win in the U.S. Supreme Court, and Sebastian Gorka says he will win again regarding asylum because this is a national security threat.
This is a national security threat. When you come into any country, it doesn't matter where you're going, whether you're visiting France, whether you're visiting Vanuatu, what happens? The country you are visiting gets to vet you, gets to check your details, and if you are a threat to that country, you don't get to come in. So this wave of immigrants, which is an assault on our national security, has to be treated as any other entry point.
There was one other note yesterday from the Pentagon. They did an estimate of how much it is costing to have the active duty troops on our southern border. The answer, I believe, through the middle of December, $72 million.
Really? Pentagon's paying for that?
we're paying for it. That's
Exactly.
their estimate.
That's true. That's true. All right, let's talk about something else that was in the news yesterday. The president, he handed over his answers to the Mueller questions, written answers. He sat down with his team of attorneys and he verbalized how he wanted to answer these questions, and they wrote it all down. And he said it was a witch hunt. It's been going on for too long, been going on forever. And he said there was no collusion, no nothing.
And Rudy Giuliani, obviously one of the president's chief counsels there, special counsel, in fact. He talked about the answers, talked about the process by which it all went down, and then he came to a conclusion. His conclusion is as such, quote, "I don't think they have any evidence of collusion of any kind. I think their obstruction case as a legal matter doesn't exist." That's pretty bold. That's a pretty unequivocal statement there by the president's counsel.
And just the fact that both sides got something, they both have something, in the win column. The president avoided an in-person interview. And then again, the Mueller people finally got the president on the record regarding certain elements of the Russia collusion story. They're not going into, at this phase, whether or not there was obstruction of justice when he fired James Comey. However, we had Alan Dershowitz sitting right next to Todd just about an hour ago, and he revealed, in his opinion, he thought that Mr. Mueller was trying to trap the president.
I think it was a very smart decision to answer the questions in writing. Clearly, Mueller had tried to spring a perjury trap. A perjury trap is a trap for the innocent as well as the guilty. You can testify completely honestly. All the prosecution needs is one witness to contradict you. Sure. If that witness is believed by the prosecutor, you have fallen into the trap. I think this has been a win-win for President Trump when it comes to any kind of legal or impeachment vulnerability.
And now the question really becomes, how close are we to the end of this?
Well, Rudy Giuliani said we're close to the end. They've given 1.4 million pages of materials, the president's responses now, and then more than 30 witnesses. He says it's time to bring this to an end.
Meanwhile, yesterday was when they ended the which turkey should the president pardon question. It was down between peas and carrots. Now, this is interesting. The turkey peas weighed 39 pounds, carrots weighed 41 pounds, and in the end, peas won the online balloting, although I understand the state of Florida is asking for a machine recount. Peas won, but the president pardoned both.
Those are such cute names. Yeah, watch this.
The winner of this vote was decided by a fair and open election conducted on the White House website. Unfortunately, carrots refused to concede and demanded a recount, and we're still fighting with carrots. Even though peas and carrots have received a presidential pardon, I have warned them that House Democrats are likely to issue them both subpoenas. I can't guarantee that your pardons won't be enjoined by the Ninth Circuit. Always happens. They're guaranteed.
He's a jokester. Peas and carrots. And I remember doing a term paper on Marilyn Monroe, and those were her two favorite vegetables because she liked the colors together.
We're going to have Jonathan Shirley on later on in the program to break down whether or not peas and carrots.
It's just funny hearing the President of the United States call the turkey by his first name, and it's carrots.
It is so funny. By the way, peas and carrots now will retire to Virginia Tech, where they will be studied by poultry science students.
Now, before we toss to Jillian,
yes,
Jillian doesn't eat food. So I was going to say Jillian likes peas and carrots, but I don't know that. Do you like peas and carrots?
You don't eat food?
Peas and carrots. No, I eat food. I love peas and carrots. I was like the only child that wanted more peas. I love.
All right, I feel like we need the applause button because we finally found a food you like.
Yay! Brussels sprouts, asparagus.
You're the only child in America that likes peas.
Yes.
All right.
All right. Let's move on. Really important information there. Let's talk about California because this is just still ongoing and search crews are hoping today's rain will end the campfire in Northern California. But the rain also means a big risk of flooding and mudslides. The weather shift comes as we learn 84 people are now confirmed dead statewide. 700 are still unaccounted for. And a stunning picture from space, look at that, shows the scope of the devastation from the Woolsey fire. The NASA image showing the huge burn scar stretching for miles in Malibu. President Trump will not punish Saudi Arabia for the murder of Washington Post columnist Jamal Khashoggi.
I'm not going to destroy the world economy, and I'm not going to destroy the economy for our country by being foolish with Saudi Arabia.
President Trump now backing up his claims, tweeting moments ago, quote, oil prices getting lower. Great. Like a big tax cut for America and the world. Enjoy. $54 was just $82. Thank you to Saudi Arabia, but let's go lower. And a warning before you start preparing your Thanksgiving meal. Romaine lettuce is not safe to eat. This is amid a major E. coli outbreak. According to the CDC, at least 32 people in 11 states have gotten sick, 13 of them hospitalized. Officials say if you have romaine lettuce in your refrigerator, throw it away. And look at this. This turkey is turned away by cops for foul play. The wild bird trying to peck his way inside a Massachusetts department before trotting away. Franklin police writing on Facebook, sorry, Tom, trying to break into the PD won't save you. Try the fire department. I mean, the poor guy's just trying to make it through Thanksgiving, right?
Oh,
is that too much to ask?
He's looking for a pardon.
I know.
Peas and carrots, we're getting them.
All right.
Thank you, Jillian. 13 minutes after the top of the hour, this illegal immigrant was released from jail in a sanctuary city, and now he's accused of triple murder. We have just learned that the same jail ignored dozens of other ICE detainers. How does this keep happening?
The only Democrat rumored to challenge Nancy Pelosi for House Speaker is changing her mind. So does that clear the way for Nancy to get to the top spot?
In the interest of illegal aliens than they are their own citizens and legal residents.
All right. In the same state, New Jersey, there's another story as well that caught our attention. The new governor, Phil Murphy, is announcing he's going to allocate $2.1 million in aid for illegal immigrants who are facing deportation. So in other words, what he's doing is he's spending millions of dollars in New Jersey to keep illegal aliens in New Jersey, right?
Yeah, it makes no sense. He's providing lawyers for illegal aliens. Now get this. New Jerseyites pay federal taxes. Those taxes go to support ICE. ICE lawyers represent the government in these removal proceedings. So now New Jersey is going to provide money for lawyers to resist those lawyers in removal proceedings. So New Jersey is on both sides of the table in these immigration court proceedings. They're fighting themselves. New Jersey taxpayers are getting soaked.
And I pay taxes in New Jersey because that's where I live, and I don't think a lot of people realize what's actually going on with our tax dollars in this particular instance. Dale Wilcox, Executive Director of the Immigration Reform Law Institute. Sir, thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, now you know. 8:20 now here in New York City. The only Democrat rumored to challenge Nancy Pelosi for House Speaker is changing her mind. So does that clear the way for Pelosi to regain the top spot? We're going to talk to somebody who works with both of them. Congressman Sean Duffy is coming up next. There he is right there. And thought you were in the back. It's nothing compared to the guy driving the forklift who's underneath all that stuff. Right now here on the Curvy Couch, we've got Republican Congressman Sean Duffy. He joins us live. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning.
Hey,
The whole
good morning.
family. We
Thanks
had
for
Rachel
having
on
me.
earlier. Where are the kids?
They're burning the hotel down right now, I think.
You got a whole bunch of them. Sean is a Republican from the great state of Wisconsin. Let's talk a little bit about what's going on in the House of Representatives. I know there's going to be the vote for Speaker will be probably the first week in January. And Nancy Pelosi had said 100% she's going to be it. And yesterday she got a green light from Marcia Fudge, who's a Democrat, who had said she was going to take through Thanksgiving to consider it, and there she is right there. Right. She has decided she's not going to try to be Speaker, and in fact, yesterday as well, Nancy Pelosi put her on a subcommittee on elections that she wanted, and then she dropped out.
Right, so first of all, next week, Democrats all meet to elect their leadership, and so it's not actually when they get to the floor. So next week, they'll have a vote, I think next Wednesday, and though you just need a majority of your Democrats in the conference to actually win, you actually need 218 to win on the House floor. So we'll know next week if Nancy Pelosi has the votes or not. But we have this great American concept that you actually give up power, right? It goes back to George Washington. Right. He gave up power after 2 terms. Nancy Pelosi doesn't get that. She, I think she's going to try to hold on to power as long as possible. She has 16 Democrats who said they won't vote for her. I don't know how she gets the votes unless she's throwing out not just carrots but cookies, or she's clubbing people to death to get them to vote for her.
Well, Congresswoman Fudge, she was one of the ones that signed that letter saying, never Nancy.
Right.
But now she's saying, you know what, I'm not going to run for the position. And Nancy Pelosi just gave her a different position? And was that just to say, look, I'll give you this if you don't run against me?
That wasn't just a carrot, that was a cookie, right? It tastes very good. But so Marcia Fudge has been around for a while. Her constituents know her, but you had a lot of young, first-time Democrats run for office, and Republicans were running ads that the first vote you're going to take is going to be to vote for Nancy Pelosi, and those Democrats said, no, 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 I'm not going to vote for Nancy. Right. The first vote they would take on the House floor would be to roll back that promise they made to their constituents. Would be very, very difficult. So again, I think it's a hard hurdle for Nancy Pelosi to get over to become the Speaker. And by the way, the Democrat Party is pulling apart at the seams right now. Right. They can't figure out how to go forward, whether it's with Nancy or someone else. Are they going to track to the center, or are they going to go hardcore left? It could be kind of a mess at the start of this next Congress.
With that in mind, if not Pelosi, if not Fudge, who's going to be able to generate enough consensus to get to 216?
Well, I think what would happen next week if Nancy Pelosi finds out she can't get that 218 vote in that closed door conference, what you would then see is a whole bunch of jockeying. They'd see the position is open, and we'd see a number of different Democrats rise to the top and say they're going to run.
She'll definitely be the Speaker.
People say that, but if you make that promise to your constituents and you run, it takes so much of your life to run and win, and to break that promise. Do you care more about your re-election, or do you care about Nancy Pelosi?
But who else is stepping up to the plate? No one
yet. Because I think that Nancy can club them hard if she becomes the Speaker. Right. They want to wait and see whether she has the votes or not. And by the way, make no mistake, when they vote in their conference, it's a secret ballot. So Nancy won't know who voted which way when they count the votes.
But when it comes to Speaker, the official vote with the whole House of Representatives, we've heard the President of the United States say she's done a good job, she should be Speaker, and if she needs Republican votes, if he called you up and said, hey, Sean, could you please vote for her?
I'd have to run that by my constituents. No, but you know what? For us, Nancy,
she's good for you.
She's great. Listen, this is a guarantee that we're going to win the House back. But if you think of the distinctions between the two parties, Republicans, our leadership is mid to late 40s. Democrats with Steny Hoyer and Nancy Pelosi, they're late 70s and 80s. They're octogenarians. They're the old time movement. We are a fresh, young party that represents millennials and Gen X. Is that what we are? Gen X?
We're Gen X.
I don't know what we are.
I don't know. Gen X, okay. Yeah. Gen X, yes.
Well, you can catch this Gen Xer on Outnumbered today. And you didn't see that transition? That was something.
That was awesome. I'm one lucky guy.
Else. You excited? You gonna have fun today?
I can't contain myself. It's gonna be great.
And Rachel's working this weekend, so the whole family. You drove with 7 of the kids, right?
7 of
From
the
Wisconsin.
8. Yeah, we road tripped out here. So I got some more
reality show.
It was too close to reality for me. See, the kids were throwing up in the car, throwing buckets in, changing clothes.
Good morning, everybody.
You had 3, and then you were driving and your son up front.
Yeah.
Rachel flew because she had to be on earlier.
Yeah, so back in the day, my mom used to drive the kids, my dad used to fly, and my wife Rachel likes to compare me to my dad. So I'm like, who's driving now? Like I'm driving the kids out, and she's flying out. I'm like,
Just shows you can't live without Rachel, because you said when Rachel's in the car, she knows how to handle the kids. I had to pull over a few times.
I had to pull over and put the law down.
All right. Sean, thank you very much. By the way, the congressman is going to stick around for Friendsgiving with his wife. We got a panel coming up next.
Yeah, plus, we're live at one of the nation's busiest airports with the mad dash to get out of town. That's all coming up next. And there's a man with a bag.
He's not dashing.
No, that's not a dash.
Not in a hurry. Is in full swing now. Right now, long lines are building at airports all across our country.
Hillary Vaughn from our sister network, Fox Business, live at LAX with the lowdown on Turkey Day travel. Hey, Hillary.
Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Ainsley and Todd. Well, airport travelers are expected to show up in record numbers, and airports around the country are bracing for impact. There's more people than ever flying to their Turkey this year. A record-breaking 30.6 million people are expected to hop on a flight and head home for the holidays. That's up over 5% last year. So if you thought lines were long last year, well, they could be even longer this year. 54.3 million people are going to be traveling in total this Thanksgiving. That includes driving to the destination. That's the highest number we've seen since 2005. So here's what's giving more people the travel bug. Consumers are more confident, wages are higher, gas prices are lower, which means people have more options, more places to go, and it's cheaper to get there. But for travelers that are driving, that also means a lot more traffic. Over 48 million Americans will drive this year to their Thanksgiving feast. AAA says drivers could face commutes 4 times longer than normal. So if you're looking at the best time to head home after Thanksgiving. AAA says that's 4 a.m. on Friday when everyone else is still in a turkey coma. Ainsley and Todd?
Good
that
stuff.
makes sense. Thank you so much, Hillary.
Steve,
Happy
over to you.
All right, thank you. More than 54 million Americans are going to be traveling this holiday weekend. Today's the busiest travel day of the year. Here are the do's and don'ts of holiday travel and worst travel habits based on their own personal experiences. We've got our Friendsgiving panel. We've got Screen Left, Wisconsin Congressman Sean Duffy and his wife and Fox News contributor Rachel Campos Duffy. They've got problems when it comes to traveling. We've got home contractor and host of To Catch a Contractor, Skip Bedell. He's waving right there. And family therapist, and we need one, Tom Kirsting. All right, Rachel and Sean, what's the biggest difference when it comes to the two of you traveling? You don't travel together all the time because you're always going to Washington. She's with the kids. But when you're together, what's the problem?
Well, when I go, I throw and go. Throw the stuff in the car and let's go, right?
Look at that face.
And Rachel doesn't like throwing and going.
I'll clean the car before we actually pack it. I want things done nicely. I want it organized. And I don't like feeling like it's very messy. When we stop for gas, I'm scurrying and cleaning up everything and throwing it out the trash.
Right.
If I left it up to him, it'd still be there.
Well, he drove the kids to New York.
He did. I know.
It sounds like you've got to clean the car because there's some travel trouble.
Yes, there was travel trouble. There was car sickness with kids. I got text messages about kids vomiting, and yeah, I was kind of glad I was on a plane.
Now, Skip, you say that when you travel, you overpack, which I think is shocking because you're always wearing that same shirt.
I'm not. It's just a different shade of color. I have a lot of different shades of color of this shirt. No, it's true. I'm a chronic overpacker. My wife and I are like polar opposites, so you would think she would be the overpacker.
What are you packing
I don't
for?
know. I like to be prepared. I like to have options. So I'm like looking, I'm like, I don't know, I just take it all and put it in the suitcase. And I always, when I get there, I'm like the guy when you get to the desk, it's like 1 pound over. And I'm like, oh, I got to repack the whole thing because it doesn't go through the weights on the scale.
Well, you're sitting right next to the expert who will get to Hawaii and then he'll say to his wife, I forgot to pack a swimming suit. You're a bad packer.
I actually, a number of years ago, we went to Italy.
Yeah.
Okay, it's like 2001, and I forgot my bathing suit. And you got to remember, you know, in America we wear like longer bathing suits. So picture the Irish guy with shorts that were like 1984 Converse All-Star shorts on the beach.
Actually, we've got a graphic. Let's go ahead and take a look at it right now.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
All right.
TMA.
So today is the day before Thanksgiving. It starts a month of Christmas and holiday festivities. There's a new survey out that finds that 1 in 3 Americans get burned out even before Christmas arrives. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that there's so much pressure to make the holidays perfect, to shop and stuff like that. Some of the burnout contributors are 65% say shopping burns them out, 63% say the crowd, then the long lines, the buying presents, and down there at the bottom, cooking, which this year is much easier because there's this thing called the Happy Cookbook available. All right, Tom, let's start with you. Why do people get burned out?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's exciting, the holidays, but it's really overwhelming. I mean, just the idea of, you know, Rachel and Sean traveling with 7 kids. I mean, that's stressful, driving from Wisconsin to down here.
Not for Rachel, by the way.
Not for Rachel. And then all the planning behind that. You know, you got to go to the supermarket when there's 1,000 people in there. It's like the to-do list on steroids, basically, is what the holidays are like. So there is a lot of stress to come with it. But
all right. Especially if you're an organized person, like I'm very organized, so you want everything to be perfect, I think. And we tend to like want to overdo stuff.
Like
you
what?
want the dinner to be perfect. You want the house to look perfect. And I think we're kind of like on sensory overload, you know? So then when it comes time for the dinner, it's like, you know, you get stressed out. And really it's all about just family. Really the bottom line, it doesn't matter where you have it or what you do. You just want to be together for the holiday. That's really what counts.
I don't know why you're under so much pressure for shopping because everybody on your list gets a cordless screwdriver.
That's right. It's something battery clicks on it. It's good. Here's a power tool for you, power tool for you. Everybody's happy.
All right. And you two get the final word.
I would just say people start too early. You know, the 12 days of Christmas was supposed to be the 12 days after Christmas. So if you take up that tradition, and I try and do that a little bit more, have the gatherings after Christmas and the 12 days after, there's less pressure, it's more casual. I think it's a better
because
way
of
to do
Republican leadership, we are crushing it. People have more money in their pocket to go shopping, so malls are crazy.
Are you doing talking points right now?
I did. But I think, you know, being able to go online and especially like from Wausau, Wisconsin, where we're at, and shop online and get so much done there, has relieved so much pressure on us. We have more time to cook in lights, in tree, in family. I think it's gotten less stressful because of the internet and the options on the internet.
All right. So in other words, I think what we've learned from the panel is just breathe deeply and take your time.
Relax.
Just relax.
Enjoy family.
All right. All right. Great discussion. Thank you.
Thanks, Steve.
Now, sit back, relax, and enjoy the headlines. And Jillian joins us right now from the mezzanine level.
That's right. Good morning. And a pretty disturbing story here. So here's what happened. A man is killed after a chunk of concrete is thrown off a bridge. A desperate manhunt underway in Nashville for whoever tossed it. Joe Shelton Jr. on his way to work when the boulder crashed right through his windshield, sending his car swerving across the highway and into a guardrail. Officials say the concrete did not fall on its own. Police now looking at surveillance video in the area. And take a look at this. A young boy spots this man one day after he allegedly broke into the child's family's home.
I just saw the guy and I'm like, Dad, there's the guy.
Seconds to look over, and as soon as I look at the guy, I'm like, wow, that is the guy.
10-year-old Caleb out with his family when they saw Eric Sanchez in Florida. They're pretty sure it's the same man that was caught on their home surveillance camera. The thief got away with a drone, a laptop, and a gun. Butterball now getting in on the microwave turkey prank that's going viral. We told you about the scheme where kids send text messages to their moms and dads asking how long it takes to microwave a 25-pound turkey. Many parents responding like this, saying, you can't do that. But Butterball says you can put a smaller bird in the microwave first, then you have to thaw out the turkey, microwave it for several minutes, baste and flipping it before putting it back in the microwave again. Just don't do that with a 25-pound turkey. And I know Janice Dean won't do that. She is outside looking at that forecast with some friends.
Oh, wait a minute. Look at who came today. All of my closest friends for Thanksgiving. It's awesome. Are you guys excited to be here today? Yeah! What are you guys thankful for? Oh, my gosh. That's so exciting. All right. While I do the weather, our cameraman Ed is going to pan down and look at all the beautiful faces here today. All right. Let's take a look at here in New York City. It is going to be cold tomorrow, my friends. You could feel like a record-setting Thanksgiving for the parade. Are you headed to the parade tomorrow? Yeah. Yes. All right. Well, here it is. Here's your parade forecast, and that's the only forecast I have right now, unfortunately. But I will tell you that the East Coast going to be cold. We could see some snow showers. On the West Coast, that's where we're going to be dealing with the potential for some rain. Otherwise, it looks great, and you guys look amazing. Thanksgiving, everybody! Do I get a big group hug?
Yeah! She's all about the hugs today.
That it touches, and she is up next.
Plus, thought you were having a bad day at work? That's not cool.
Ooh.
Nothing compared to this guy driving a forklift. More on this forklift fail.
Ooh.
Fox and Friends.
And it doesn't stop.
Returns.
Oh.
Good morning, folks.
Hello. Okay.
Time for some quick headlines now. Caught on camera, a thief sets himself on fire trying to steal gas. This was in Portland, Oregon. You can see him running away fully engulfed as his van and the U-Haul truck burn. He is on the run. And this is the ultimate domino effect. Surveillance video shows a forklift operator bumping into a shelf, causing an entire warehouse to collapse in just seconds. Just keep watching. It keeps going. It's unclear where this happened or if anyone was hurt. But yikes, that's a bad day, Ainsley.
That is a bad day. All right, thank you so much, Jillian. Well, Women's March founder Teresa Shook calling on her own co-chairs, these 4 women, to resign. She's accusing them of pushing racism, anti-Semitic views, and hateful rhetoric. Our next guest argues it's just another example of what the left does. Here to explain is Fox News contributor and president of the Independent Women's Voice, Tammy Bruce. Hey, Tammy.
Hey there. Good morning.
All right, so what do you make of this?
You know, this was a huge event, right? It was an amazing organizational effort started by a woman in Hawaii, a retired lawyer, using a Facebook page. It was the great example of the modern age. And women came together, but we already saw in the beginning there where there was a fracture, whereas if you were pro-life, you were not invited, right? There was already divisions about identity, if you will. And this is the problem with identity politics, is that when you're saying where ideas are not discussed, where it's about who you are or your complexion or gender, is that it automatically requires you to look at other people as the other, right? If that's your pride is in your sense of self, then you're automatically not going to be dealing with ideas. It's about how you're better or more superior to other people. And that's what's happened. It certainly is not a recipe for unity, right? It's a recipe for bigotry. And that's what the left does. The left, historically around the world, co-ops issues and organizations important to society, very important issues like women's rights, and then take it and use it to divide, make the issues about race as an example. Now, the Women's March, unfortunately, as people hear the rhetoric, is now about defeating white nationalism and the white man. So now it's all about race. It's not about women's rights at all, because we do have a whole host of things that we agree on as women, regardless of our backgrounds.
So tell me what these 4 individuals did that the founder doesn't approve of.
Right. Well, there's a huge association with Louis Farrakhan, a man who, one event that at least 1 or 2 of them, Linda Sarsour and Tamika Mallory there attended, where he referred to the Jewish people as scum, as Satan, etc., not rebuking Louis Farrakhan. A lot of anti-gay sentiment as well that comes from that framework. So she thought, and she'd said this in her Facebook post, that they would right the ship and realize that this was a mistake. But no, they haven't, and they refuse to. What they do go back to is saying that as women of color, you know, this is our leadership, that in other words, if you disagree with them, you're racist. And of course, we've heard that as well. So this is an opportunity. This is not isolated. This is also now something the Democratic Party is going to have to deal with. It is either they're going to have to address these kinds of issues regarding identity politics, which will always sink into this framework, or really talk about ideas, the importance of ideas, regardless of your complexion, where you come from, and what makes us all Americans, and certainly what we have in common as women across the board as well.
Tammy Bruce, thank you so much. Happy Thanksgiving.
Sure, you too.
Well, these young boys had their lemonade stand shut down because they didn't have a permit, but they kept fighting, and you won't believe what they were able to get done. The family's going to join us next. But first, let's check in with Sandra Smith to find out what's coming up at the top of the hour. Hey, Sandra.
Good morning and happy Thanksgiving to you, Ainsley. Good morning, everyone, live from America's newsroom. Day before Thanksgiving, couple big stories developing at the White House this morning. President Trump announcing he will not punish Saudi Arabia over the Jamal Khashoggi murder. The reaction continues to pour in from lawmakers this morning. Also, what the president is now saying about those written answers he just turned over to Robert Mueller. Plus, we have travel updates across the country as America embarks on the holiday travel season. We've got a big lineup for you. Join us live, top of the hour. I'm lucky to get through.
We take a look back at the great causes Fox and Friends viewers have supported in this last year. Back in July, we spoke with a Denver mom who created an advocacy group to change the laws after her kid's lemonade stand was shut down because they didn't have permits. Lemonade Stand Mama founder Jennifer Knowles, her husband Patrick, and their children Ben, William, and Jonathan join us right now, all live from Denver. Good morning to you.
Hello.
Good morning. It's good to have you. Hey, Ben, let's start with you. Why did you want to raise money with a lemonade stand? What were you going to do with the money?
Give it to poor kids that need more food and water.
That's right. Give it to
poor kids down food and water.
Yeah, that's right. Give it to poor kids who needed food and water in Indonesia. All right, so that was the intent. And Jennifer, then, as it turns out, you didn't have the permits and you got shut down, and then you came on TV, and what happened?
Absolutely. Our lives turned upside down in so many amazing, incredible ways. We were raising money for Compassion International with a neighborhood lemonade stand, got shut down, and then we ended up coming on here, Fox and Friends, and setting up a virtual lemonade stand with GoFundMe.
Yeah.
And together, we with the community and your viewers, we raised over $8,000.
That's great.
To help kids all around the world who are in extreme poverty.
And Patrick, real quickly, you wanted to say thanks to everybody watching, didn't you?
Oh, absolutely. No, thank you for everybody and all the contributions and everything we've been able to do in Denver and beyond for Compassion International and for kids everywhere that are less fortunate than what we have in the U.S.
Indeed. And Jennifer, I guess the message, the moral of the story is you can fight City Hall and win, can't you?
Absolutely. So we learned what the current laws were about kids and lemonade stands and permits.
All right.
And it didn't quite seem right, so we learned a great lesson.
All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us this day before Thanksgiving. Good luck to your family, and God bless you.
Thank you.
You bet. We're stepping aside. Back in 2 minutes.